afternoon and welcome to mmlearn.org, a program of Morningside Ministries, and today is our Family Caregiving Series. We're so delighted that you could join us, and I want to always extend our appreciation to those organizations and individuals that help make these presentations possible. So I'd like to thank the Baptist Healthcare Foundation, Methodist Healthcare Ministries Foundation, the Southwest and Central Consortium for Geriatric Education Center of Texas, the Pryor Trust, and so many other individuals and organizations who support the mission of mmlearn.org. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable asking questions or making a comment, and our program today is being pre-recorded, but that doesn't mean that you can't get your questions answered. All you have to do is click on that little ask bubble. Make sure that you put in your email address and send your question, and we will forward those on to the presenters and get you answers. And normally you can expect those back within about 72 hours. So please don't hesitate to do that and send us your email, and you can always call us as well. It's very important for us to know what you think, and that's why we ask you to complete the survey. Your feedback means everything, and it only takes about 5 minutes to complete the survey. And it's one of the ways that we're still able to continue to bring these programs to you for free. So we want to thank you so much for joining our group today. Our program is on assistive devices. And what I would like for you to know is that our presenters are going to introduce themselves. And I think that's always special because I always say to them they get their names right, but more than that, they can tell you a little bit about who they are and what they do. But our appreciation to the University of Texas Health Science Services Center in San Antonio, Texas. So thank you and enjoy this program. I know it's an important one.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Martha Acosta with the Physical Therapy Department at the University of Texas Health Science Center. And I'm here this morning with two of our doctoral physical therapy students, Rebecca Oliver and Caleb Baker. And we would like to talk with you this morning and share information with you on assistive devices and how to use those assistive devices properly when you're working with your clients. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rebecca and Caleb for more details.
My name is Caleb Baker, and I'm going to give everyone a brief overview of what we're talking about today. I have a brief introduction on assistive devices, the different types of devices, how to adjust them, common mistakes when using them and how to correct these mistakes, safety during transfers. Primarily, we're going to talk about sit to stand and going from standing to sitting. We're also going to talk about different terrains, how to adjust to these different terrains for increased safety and using the assistive device on different terrains. We're going to talk about gait belts with caregivers, how to use them appropriately with patients to increase safety as well and to decrease fall risk. And we'll end with a brief summary of what we've talked about. So what is an assistive device? Assistive devices help compensate for the following impairments or conditions: decreased balance or stability, decreased strength, decreased coordination, pain with weight bearing, or pain when standing, amputations, or fractures. The two primary uses of assistive devices are going to be when you have decreased strength, and pain is a big one when standing. So they're designed to improve functional mobility. Important considerations. The appropriate assistive device and its proper use are important for safety and security in maneuvering through the environment, as well as conserving energy. Assistive devices should be selected and fitted by a professional, such as a physical therapist or other health professionals that are trained to do so prior to their use. More important considerations. The caregiver must be aware of the client's abilities and disabilities. Caregivers must provide safety for the client through proper guarding, which we'll go through, and instructions during activities where assistive devices are used. This may include preparing the client mentally and or physically for the upcoming activity. For example, if you're going to be taking your client or patient on an outing, it's important to prepare them for the length of the walk or any environmental barriers that they may be encountering on this activity, such as different terrains going from gravel to grass, also any sort of step up or threshold or any kind of rug, anything they need to maybe avoid or be aware to avoid when taking them out to any sort of outing. I'm now going to give this over to my colleague, Becca Oliver.
So now that we've talked about what assistive devices are and what they're used for, we'd like to talk about the types of assistive devices and which ones are most stable, which ones are least stable, and the indications for each. So going from most supportive to least supportive, we have the standard walker, rolling walker, a rollator, a Hemi-Walker, a quad cane, and a single point cane. So first let's start with the standard walker. It is the most stable assistive device. As you can see, there are no wheels. It's not going to roll out from under you. It can allow for more weight to be put through your arms so that you can unweight your legs if you have a lot of pain in one leg or you're letting a fracture heal, etc. The downfall of a standard walker is that you have a slower walking speed because you have to move it forward before taking each step. Now, rolling walkers. They have two wheels in front. You can walk faster with a rolling walker because you glide it along. As you can see in this picture, it has tennis balls on the back, which you can use or you cannot use. It's your preference. It just helps it slide a little bit easier along the surfaces. As you can see here, the demonstration, you do not need to pick it up when you're walking because it slides, so that is helpful. And then the downfall with these is that the wheels can roll out from under you if all four legs are not in contact with the ground or the floor. Now, rollators. We don't have an example here to show you, but they are very popular. You can walk fast with them. You can take a break on the seat. And there's a little carry pouch underneath where you can carry items if you need to take things with you. The brakes on the handles are so that you can lock all the brakes for sitting. However, they're not the safest option because they can still slide with the brakes on slick surfaces. And it does not allow for very much weight to be put through the upper extremities. So this is more so for a lack of endurance more than pain or decreased strength. As I said before, it's only if you need an immediate place for sitting break. If you have good balance already, they're good to use. A Hemi-Walker, we have an example here, is the most stable option for the single-arm assistive devices. It's if you don't have functional use of one arm or hand. It does have the ability to stand upright, so that's nice. It's not going to fall over. It has a very large base of support, so it's sturdy. It can also fold up to store it in a tight spot or if you need to take it on a trip. But the downfall is that it's bulky and can be heavy to some patients. A quad cane is a little bit less stable. It also has the ability to stand upright, and it does have a larger base of support than a standard cane, so you'll get more stability out of this than the standard cane. And it allows for more weight to be put through the arm or hand than with just a single point cane. And now for single point canes. These are also very popular. They're lightweight. They're simple, small. You can take them anywhere. And it improves safety and balance compared to using no assistive device. So if you just need a little bit of support or you're a little bit weak on one side, this is a good option for you. It is the least stable assistive device for walking. So Caleb Baker will be taking over talking about how you use these.
All right, thank you, Becca. Let's get the height right first. So what you want to do is have your patient have their arms at their side, relaxed. You want to have them standing upright, nice and tall with good posture, as you can see here. Now the handle of the assistive device should be at approximately wrist height. You want to look for that crease in the wrist where the hand bends, as you can see here on me. And we've adjusted this cane to be just right for Becca. So her arms are relaxed, she's standing up tall, and the handle of the assistive device, whether that be a cane, a walker, or any of the other ones we've mentioned, it's going to fall right at that crease of the wrist or the bend of the wrist. Now most assistive devices adjust by lengthening or shortening the legs. As you can see here, they have a little silver button you can push, and usually it adjusts by about an inch each segment on most walkers, most canes, quad canes, as well as the Hemi-Walkers. Rollators, on the other hand, can be more complicated depending on the brand. This is just a brief overview of what I just told you about the correct size. As you can see here, this man has it correct in the first picture, The second is it's too tall. If you look how his arm is bent, there's quite a big bend in the elbow, and also the handle of the cane is almost to about the belly button above the waist, which is too high. Now in the next picture, it's too short. As you can see, the man is leaning over to put weight into that cane. Also, there's almost no bend at all at the elbow. The elbow is almost straight. If you look at the correct size with the big green check, you'll notice that there's a slight bend at the elbow, not too much, and not too low. Now I'm going to go over some of the common mistakes. We're going to start with walkers, and we'll move on to the single hand or single arm assistive devices. Now some of the common mistakes with walkers, I'm going to have Becca demonstrate some of these. Probably the most common we see is leaning forward or hunching over. Also pushing the walker too far in front. So a lot of these things can come from the walker height being not adjusted right, such as leaning forward to go to kind of get your hands onto a walker that's too low, as well as pushing the walker too far in front. Could be the walker's too low, or it could be the walker's too high, and to get your weight into it, you're leaning forward. Another common one is picking up the walker while walking. As you can see she's doing here, there's no need to do that. You're actually endangering yourself more so than you would by just gliding it along, just sliding it. Now with a standard walker, as we mentioned before, there would be no wheels, so there is a slight pickup with these, thus making them slower than a two-wheeled walker. However, with a two-wheeled, you have the wheels in the front, and you usually have glides or tennis balls in the back. With this, you can just glide along most any surface, including carpet, concrete, most anything you're going to encounter. One other common mistake we'd like to mention is pushing the walker with one hand or one arm only. This causes the walker to turn, to swivel out of control. This also doesn't allow you to put equal weight bearing through both hands. This doesn't allow you to put weight through both arms or both hands to equally distribute your weight using the walker to unweight the legs or lower extremities. Now we're going to talk about how to correct these common mistakes. When you're using a walker, you want to stand up nice and tall. You want to promote good posture. This all has to do with the height of the walker. As you can see here, she's comfortably standing with good posture, upright. Both hands are on the walker. Not a whole lot of bend in the elbow here, but there is some. You're not locked out with straight elbows. You want to stay close to the walker, as she is here. She's not too far behind it. She's not directly inside of it, but it's comfortably in front of her so that she can use it to stabilize herself. All four legs of the walker should be in contact with the ground when stepping. As you can see here, she's gliding it along, keeping it in contact. If she were to tip it forward to try to roll it on just the wheels and then take a step, the walker can easily tilt forward, slip out, or roll out from underneath her, causing a fall and endangering the patient or herself. Okay, we're now going to talk to you about the single arm assisted devices and the common mistakes associated with these. I'm going to have Becca show these mistakes with a single point cane due to this being the most popular single arm assisted device. Now the first mistake we see is leaning into the cane. As you can see, she's leaning far too much weight through her hand into that cane, as well as having the cane too far in front of her. Another common mistake, this is actually seen even on television or movies, holding the cane on the same side as a weaker leg. So let's say Becca has either a painful right side leg or that's her weak leg. She's holding the cane in her right hand. This is incorrect. Another common mistake is dragging the cane behind, as well as putting the cane too far in front of the body, which she's already shown. Now, how to correct these common mistakes. If a patient or client has a weaker leg or a painful leg, the cane belongs in the opposite hand of the weak leg. As we mentioned before, let's say that Rebecca's right leg is weaker, painful. That's the one she doesn't want to put a lot of weight into. She doesn't want to lean onto that leg. So we're going to have the cane in the left hand. Now the cane is going to move with the weaker leg. It's better with demonstration. As you can see, she steps forward with the weak leg to right. The cane moves with it. Let's try that one more time. As the cane moves forward, the weak leg moves forward. These move together. And she can put weight through that left hand, kind of leaning towards the cane to help out with the painful or weak leg. Now you want to keep the cane vertical with upright posture, as she was showing before. As the cane stays vertical, this prevents having the cane too far to the side, too far in front, too close to the foot. If the cane is too close or too far, you'll see it's at a funny angle. This will increase the incidence of the cane slipping out or increase incorrect posture. Now I'd like to talk to you about curbs and steps going up and down with assistive devices. The most important thing to remember is up with the good, down with the bad. Also, another easy way to remember that is the good goes to heaven, so you're going up, the bad goes to the other place. So I'm going to have Rebecca demonstrate this for us. She's going to first place the walker up onto the step or curb. And again, we're going to call her right the injured or weak leg. So she's going to go up with the good, the more stable leg. There we go. Perfect. And now I'll have her turn around, and she's going to show going down. Now this is going to be down with the bad. So walker goes first, and her bad leg is her right. Perfect. Now a lot of people want to go down with their good because that's their dominant or strong leg. However, the leg that's going to take most of the weight is going to be the leg that stays up top. So you're going to be lowering yourself down with that top leg. Therefore, you leave the good leg up. So just remember, up with the good, or the good goes to heaven, down with the bad. Now I'm going to give it over to Becca. She's going to talk about sitting and standing with assistive devices.
Thank you, Caleb. I will begin with sit to stand as a transfer with an assistive device. And Caleb will be demonstrating some improper techniques, and then I'll point out the things that are wrong and help him to correct them when using an assistive device. So first, try to get up the improper way. As you can see, he's sitting far back into the seat. His feet are out in front of his knees, and he's not leaning over at all. So when he tries to stand up, he's also holding on to the assistive device, which can topple over very easily. Now, ways to correct this. First, feet to the edge of the chair. Bring your knees behind you, or your feet behind your knees. And then push off of the chair as you lean forward. Nose over toes is a good thing to remember. And then hold on to the assistive device. Another way that is acceptable is if you have one hand on the chair and one hand on the assistive device, such as this. As long as everything else is done properly, that is okay. Do not pull on the walker because, as you can see, you can topple over. All right. So now, from standing to sitting, let's say that Caleb has just come into the room and he wants to sit down in the chair. Now what he's doing here is he has the assistive device far away from him. He doesn't feel the chair on the back of his legs. So if he goes to sit down, he can start falling, he can miss the chair, the assistive device can fall over. There are a lot of things that can go wrong in this picture. So the proper way would be to come, turn so that your back is facing the chair, and back up until you feel the chair hit your legs. Okay? Once you feel the chair, reach back with one arm before beginning to sit, and then slowly let yourself down. Do not plop. Plopping is bad. Excellent. And just a side note, we did use a chair with rollers on all four wheels, which isn't very safe. We wouldn't promote using this in a normal situation, but it was for demonstration purposes only. Now we'll talk about walking over different surfaces and how to adjust your gait pattern and how you use your assistive device. So let's say it's raining outside and you're walking on concrete. It may be slick, and so what you need to do is take smaller steps and keep your assistive device close to your body so that it doesn't get away from you and start sliding out. And the opposite of a slick or wet surface would be a rough surface, such as carpet or asphalt or some kind of rug. You need to make sure you're picking up your feet and not shuffling because your toe can catch very easily, and that could very easily turn into a fall, which is not a good thing. The assistive device will also not slide as easily, so you need to make sure that you're cautious about how you're moving it. And you may need to gently lift it up. I know we said we don't want to lift the walker, but in this case, if it's sticking to the floor, you need to lift it very gently over certain areas if necessary. At the bottom, it says, be careful of alternating surfaces or throw rugs. This is very important to note. If you go into someone's house that you haven't been in before, make sure you scan the area, look for any lips or ledges or anything that might catch your assistive device and be a safety hazard.
And finally, we'd like to talk with you about the use of gait belts. We strongly encourage you to use gait belts with your clients, and that helps to improve your safety when you're walking around in the environment. The gait should be snug around the patient's waist, and ideally you'd have one hand on the patient's shoulder and the other hand on the gait belt, so that in case they lose their balance, you're able to help them get back to the midline and so they can stand up tall and before they fall over. You do want to not pull on the gait belt while you're walking, and you do want to stay close to the patient. In summary, we've gone over with you the different types of assistive devices. We've talked about the mistakes and how to correct those mistakes. Also the information about how to sit and stand properly and safely. And we do want you to be aware of your environment, particularly different surfaces when you're walking your patients or clients around with their assistive devices. And finally, the use of gait belts to help them improve their balance and be able to hold on to them if they should lose that balance while walking around. We want to thank you for your attention. We also want to thank Morningside Ministries for the opportunity to present this information to you. Our goal is to help increase your safety and the patient's safety while you're walking and using an assistive device. And we wish to promote your selection of the appropriate device also. If you have any questions, you can click on the Ask bubble and someone will get back with you. And again, thank you very much.